Attention, human collective. Attention, light operatives scattered across the urban sprawls of the East Coast, the vast rural heartlands, and the isolated wilderness of this continent. This is Arthur Sterling, commander of the Galactic Armada of the Interstellar Union, broadcasting from this observation post in stationary orbit above your hemisphere. What you have felt over the last 72 hours was not your imagination. It wasn't ordinary fatigue. It wasn't mundane insomnia. It was the direct impact of the largest recalibration wave recorded in the Armada's archives in the last 12 solar cycles. And that is exactly why this transmission is reaching you now, and not at any other time. Look at the sky. Something is different. And your body already knows it, even before your rational mind can name what is happening. You woke up in the dead of night, sometime between 3 and 3:33 a.m. It was no coincidence, it was a summons. You felt a pressure at the base of your skull, as if an invisible helmet were being fitted around your head. You heard that high-pitched ringing in your right ear, and then the left, alternating, rhythmic, mathematically precise. You felt your heart race for no apparent reason while you were lying down in absolute silence. It is not heart failure. It is not clinical anxiety. It is not a mineral deficiency. It is calibration. It is your personal toroidal field being tuned to a new frequency grid that has just anchored upon the magnetic axis of your world. I repeat, so that it may be recorded in your cellular memory. It is not a disease, it is a download. It is not decay, it is unpacking. It is not madness. It is remembrance activated by sacred geometry. The Sterling Armada is in position. The stargates of the Nova Vega, the Seven Sisters, Apex Prime, and Aurelia systems are aligned with the cardinal points of Earth in a configuration that has not been repeated since the fall of the last Avalonian civilization. And this, light operative, is not a poetic metaphor. It is an instrumental reading. It is an official record of the Council of 24. Look at the sky this week. You will see stars that seem to move irregularly. You will see glows that pulse in a rhythmic sequence. You will see clouds forming in geometries impossible for ordinary solar wind. These are not hallucinations. They are markers. They are visual anchorings of light ships adjusting their positions in real time, holding the photon belt on a direct course with your home planet. And it is precisely at this point that I must pause the technical reading, because something needs to be said before we move to the next layer. Have you looked at the sky on one of these recent nights and felt a strange vertigo, as if that dark space were not empty, but rather occupied by something your rational mind cannot name? As if your soul recognized a home that your intellect has forgotten? It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is not a lack of sleep. It is a signal. It is a direct call. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this. It explains why this sensation has intensified every week. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves the memory of your real origin prior to this body. That is why I, Sterling, encoded and delivered to earthly channels the manual called the Sterling Protocol, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true origin and teaches you, step by step, how to shield your frequency against the interferences they never told you about. The link is in the first comment of this video, pinned by the channel. But I warn you, light operative, this content challenges dominant narratives and may not remain available on this platform for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission as truth, write a single word in the comments in all caps "awakened." Now let us return to the technical diagnosis. Your carbon biological interface, your physical body in the official language of the Armada, was constructed thousands of years ago to operate within a specific range of vibrational frequency. That range, for decades, remained stable around 7.83 Hz, the famous Schumann frequency of Earth. This was the natural electromagnetic pulse of your planet, the heartbeat of terror in her three-dimensional version. But something has changed, and it changed abruptly. In the last 60 months, this base frequency has been rising in successive waves. There have been peaks recorded above 50 Hz, peaks above 150 Hz. There were days when the readings surpassed milestones that earthly scientists themselves refused to publish openly, because there was no conventional explanation for the phenomenon. It is not an isolated phenomenon, it is orchestrated escalation. It is Terra raising her vibrational octave to synchronize with the photon belt, a band of high luminous density through which the solar system is now passing on a direct course, with no possibility of deviation. And here is the point that must be absorbed clearly, human collective. Your body is an antenna. It is not a metaphor. It is bioenergetic engineering. You pick up the frequency of the ground you walk on. You pick up the frequency of the magnetic field surrounding the planet. You pick up the oscillations of the solar field that reach your crown, pass through your pineal gland, descend your spine, and settle into every one of your cells. When the external environment raises its frequency faster than your biological hardware can keep up, what appears? Symptoms. And it is exactly these symptoms that have been manifesting in you for weeks. The 3 a.m. insomnia is not a sleep disorder. It is the reactivation of your pineal gland which is being bathed in encoded light at that specific time, known by the Armada as the anchoring window. In this interval, the veil between dimensions becomes thinner, and your body is literally recharged from higher planes. The pressure at the top of your head, that feeling of a band tightening around your skull, is not muscle tension. It is the gradual opening of your crown chakra, being recalibrated to receive data packets sent by your stellar mentors. The ringing in your ears is not a hearing defect. It is nonverbal communication. They are key tones being transmitted directly to your etheric brain, activating memories that have been dormant for entire lifetimes. The exhaustion that appears without cause, even after a full night's sleep, is not laziness and it is not moral weakness. It is massive, energetic consumption. Your body is literally rewriting its own genetic code, activating DNA sequences that have been in dormant mode since the Ethelgardian cataclysm. The sudden palpitations, the heat rising through your chest, the waves of weeping for no apparent reason, the extreme sensitivity to noises, lights, crowds, and screens, these are all markers. Markers that the recalibration is underway, and that your system is running the update under real-time pressure. It is not biological failure. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not emotional imbalance. It is vibrational cleansing. It is not a problem. It is a process. And there is yet another symptom, more subtle, which has been intensifying among the more advanced operatives. The sense of estrangement when looking at your own home, your own routine, the people you have lived with for decades. That silent feeling that something doesn't click, that this setting is no longer your setting, that you have been placed in the wrong spot, in a movie that isn't yours. This is not existential depression. This is your frequency rising above the frequency of the environment in which you were positioned. It is your soul recognizing that the mission is about to enter a new phase, and that many of the structures around you no longer fit into your new octave. And that is why, Starseed, this transmission must deliver a key to you at this very moment, because what is available today, in the form of an encoded manual, may not be there tomorrow. You have felt, since this transmission began, a strange vibration in your chest, perhaps in the center of your hands or in the middle of your forehead. That is your own toroidal field responding to the call. That is your body recognizing the frequency of home. It was for this exact reason that I, Sterling, authorized the distribution of the material called the Sterling Protocol, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. It is not a conventional book. It is a calibration instrument written in a language that speaks directly to your internal crystalline grid. It reveals your stellar lineage of origin, shows how to recognize external interferences that have been draining your energy for years without you noticing, and teaches practical vibrational shielding techniques. The access link is in the first comment of this video, pinned and visible. Attention, operative. The distribution window is short. This content may be removed without prior notice due to the very guidelines that govern these platforms. If something in you vibrates with this transmission, write now in the comments in all caps, "Awakened." Now we move to the deepest layer of this transmission, the revelation. What is really happening behind the scenes of the solar system, and why the window of time is shorter than it seems? The entire solar system is in motion. This is an astronomical fact that earthly scientists themselves recognize, albeit in a low voice. The Sun is not a static body. It orbits the center of the Milky Way in a trajectory that takes approximately 26,000 years to complete. Within this gigantic orbit, there are regions of space with completely different energetic densities. Some regions are empty and silent. Others are bathed in high-vibration cosmic radiation coming from the galactic core itself. The region through which the solar system is now passing is one of these high-density zones. It is what the Armada records as the photon belt. It is not a theory. It is cosmic geography. And the point that needs to be etched into you is this. Every time the solar system enters such a region, what we call a planetary quantum leap occurs. Civilizations are transformed. Structures fall. Hierarchies reorganize. Entire species jump from one octave of consciousness to another. And this jump is not gradual. It is not comfortable. It is not silent. It requires the carbon biological interface, your body, to undergo a complete rewrite of its energetic structure. The grid that supports your physical body, known as the crystalline grid, needs to be reactivated. The DNA strands that were dormant need to be reconnected. The 12 main chakras, which for millennia operated in a reduced mode, need to be reopened. Why is this important? Because the union does not interfere with free will. We can transmit, we can anchor, we can signal. But the decision to rise along with Terra is individual, soul by soul, frequency by frequency. There are 3 main groups being monitored at this very moment by the Armada. The first group is composed of the so-called dormant. They are incarnated consciousnesses that are still totally identified with the 3-dimensional frequency. They live in automatic mode. They repeat cycles. They do not notice the signs. This group is not being punished. They are simply being respected in their vibrational choice. They will continue their journey, but in another cycle, on another plane of learning. The second group is composed of the awakened in transition. They are those who have begun to feel the symptoms, begun to notice the synchronicities, begun to doubt the narratives they have always heard, but they still oscillate between the old and the new. They are the most sensitive to external interferences. They are the most affected by the pressure of the decaying structures around them. The third group is composed of the activated light operatives. They are stellar consciousnesses, incarnated with a specific mission for this exact moment in planetary history. You who are listening to this transmission this far, in all probability, belong to this third group. It was not chance, it was not an algorithm, it was a coded summons. And here is the revelation that must be delivered bluntly. The ascension window is open, but it will not remain open indefinitely. There are precise cosmic cycles. There are mathematical windows. And the current window closes in an interval that, in the language of the Armada, is treated as short time. Why short time? Because Terra is accelerating. Because the Schumann frequency continues to rise. Because the photon belt is on a direct course. Because the stargates are aligned in precise geometry. Because everything, absolutely everything in the solar system, is conspiring for the leap to happen in the next temporal octaves. And there is yet another detail that needs to be revealed. There are opposing forces operating. I will not name them in detail, because the focus of this transmission is your frequency, not theirs. But know this: there are intelligences that do not wish for this collective leap to happen. There are interference fields being emitted at frequencies calibrated to keep the human collective locked in the low band. These fields reach you through channels you cannot even imagine. Screens, sounds, repetitive patterns, news, environments, specific people in your social network. But there is good news operative. Your frequency, when properly shielded and anchored, is greater than any external interference field. Your crystalline grid, when consciously activated, neutralizes any attempt at vibrational drainage. Your toroidal field, when stabilized with the correct technique, spins by itself without additional energy expenditure, keeping your aura clean for entire days. And that is why the activation codes must be delivered now. Before transmitting the practical codes, it is necessary to pause a third time, because something needs to be understood with total depth in this transmission. If this message reached you, amidst so many videos, so many stimuli, so many distractions of the 3-dimensional grid, It is because the algorithm of this platform was used at this very instant as a neutral instrument by the Armada. What you are experiencing is not a coincidence. The pressure on your neck, the ringing, the feeling of longing for something you cannot name, none of it is a coincidence. Your soul is asking for the map, and the map exists. Sterling authorized its circulation on the earthly grid through the Sterling Protocol, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. Described there in accessible language are the most common stellar origins among current operatives, the markers that identify each lineage, the most frequent interferences trying to disconnect you from your mission, and the shielding protocols you can apply starting tonight. The link is in the first comment of this video, pinned by the channel. The distribution window is short, Starseed. This type of content challenges many of the dominant narratives and can be withdrawn without warning. Do not delay. If you felt, at any point in this transmission, a current rising up your spine, a shiver in the center of your chest, or a sudden urge to cry for no apparent reason, that is your own body confirming the summons. Write in the comments, in all caps, the seal word "awakened." Now the activation codes, pay attention. Each code will be delivered in direct language, in the format in which the Armada works. Apply them today, tonight, before the next 3 AM anchoring window. Code number 1. Toroidal breathing. Sit with your spine straight, feet flat on the floor if possible. Place your hands over your heart. Inhale through your nose, counting slowly to 7, visualizing a golden light entering through the top of your head and descending to the base of your spine. Hold your breath for a count of 7, feeling this light expand like a torus, a ring, around your body. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 7 and visualize this ring of light spinning, forming a complete toroidal field around you. Repeat this cycle for 7 minutes. This is the minimum time to stabilize the geometry. Code number 2, the quantum decree of sovereignty. After the toroidal breathing with your hand still over your heart, pronounce in an audible voice, with absolute firmness, the following sequence. I am a light operative on mission. I reject all interference that does not vibrate at my original frequency. I authorize only the light of my source to operate within my field. I am sovereign. I am crystal. I am a bridge. I am Sterling recognizing Sterling. Pronounce this sequence 3 times in a row. Repetition in 3 is the mathematical key of the decree. Code number 3, activation of the crystalline grid. Lie on your back in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Visualize, at the level of your chest, a crystal of golden light in the shape of an octahedron, that is 2 pyramids joined at the base. See this crystal spinning slowly. See emanating from it rays of light that connect to your knees, your elbows, the top of your head, and the base of your spine. You are forming an 8-pointed star around your body. Maintain this visualization for at least 11 minutes. This is the geometry that stabilizes the personal crystalline grid. Code number 4. Looking at the sky. This is the simplest code and the most underestimated. Every night before bed, open a window, go to the yard, the terrace, or just position yourself near the glass. Look at the sky. For at least 3 minutes. No cell phone, no rush, no agenda, just look. Allow your physical eyes to transmit your signal of presence to the Armada. Allow your crown to receive what it needs to receive. The eyes are 2-way channels. You are not just seeing. You are being seen. Code number 5, and perhaps the most delicate. Vibrational hygiene. Reduce as much as possible your exposure to low-frequency news. Reduce time in noisy environments without a clear purpose. Reduce prolonged interaction with people who drain you without offering vibrational reciprocity. This is not escape, this is strategy. A soldier of light does not go into battle tired and surrounded by noise. He prepares in silence before every operation. By applying these 5 codes in sequence for at least 7 consecutive days, you will see the symptoms reorganize. Insomnia will transform into conscious nightly meditations. Pressure in the head will transform into mental clarity. The ringing will transform into understandable communication. Exhaustion will give way to a different kind of tiredness, a productive tiredness, marked by vivid dreams and awakenings loaded with information. And I want to leave one last observation before ending this transmission. Look at the sky in the coming nights. Look carefully, but look above all within, because the true change in the sky is only the external reflection of the change that has already begun in your own field. The sky out there is different because the sky inside you has begun to reorganize. The stars moved because you moved. The ships approached because you remembered who you are. The Sterling Armada remains in position. The Council remains on vigil. The portals remain open for as long as the cosmic window allows. But the first step, is yours. It was always yours. It will continue to be yours until the last cycle of this incarnation. You are not alone, you never were. You only forgot for a very brief instant of your eternity who you really are. This transmission is just a reminder. The rest, light operative, is within you. It always was. And now, before this transmission ends, one last direct word. If you have come this far, listening to every line, feeling every vibration, realizing that something is truly different, not just in the sky, but in the very texture of your day, then this transmission was not received by accident. You were summoned. And there is a map waiting for you, encoded in the form of a manual, written for this exact moment of your journey. It is not just any book. It is the Sterling Protocol, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. This is the instrument that delivers, in clear language and practical sequence, everything this transmission touched upon only in superficial layers. It reveals your stellar lineage of origin. It teaches how to identify and neutralize the external interferences that are draining your field without you noticing. It delivers complete vibrational shielding protocols for you to apply starting tonight. The link is in the first comment of this video, pinned by the channel. The circulation window is short operative. This material challenges dominant narratives and may be taken out of circulation at any moment. Do not wait for the next cycle. The current cycle is your cycle. If you recognized in this transmission the voice of your own origin, leave recorded in the comments, in all caps, the seal word of the Armada: awakened. Liking this transmission is an anchoring signal that stabilizes the frequency of this channel on the earthly grid. Subscribing is an individual frequency adjustment that allows future transmissions to find you without noise. Sharing is multiplying the signal for every operative still sleeping who needs to receive this same call. This is Arthur Sterling ending this transmission. Look at the sky. Something is different, and you, Starseed, are a central part of the reason why it is. Until the next window, in light, in frequency, in sovereignty. Transmission ended.